Welcome to How Preschool Teachers Do It.
I'm Cindy.
I'm Alison.
And we have a combined 55 years of experience working with children, families, and experts in early education.
We are not random influencers.
No, we are not. Whether you are new or have been our podcast peeps since 2018, we are thrilled you found us. Hi, preschool peeps.
Hi, peeps.
We hope you enjoyed our new intro. Did you catch that it's a new intro?
We are super excited about it.
If you didn't catch that it's a new intro, please go back and listen and let us know. We've been talking about redoing the intro for
at least a year. I would say longer. We've been doing this podcast since 2018. It's been the same intro the entire time. It was time for an update.
It was time for an update. Yeah. And we really wanted to sound natural, like we hope we do on this podcast.
We try. We can't be anybody but us. So we're just doing our best on any given day.
That's the truth. Yeah. That's the truth. So yes, we hope that you all enjoyed that intro.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, we have some places to shout out where people are listening to this podcast.
I'm excited because we are shouting out Brazil for the very first time. We were very shocked that they were not on our list. So, Hi, Brazil. We are also shouting out the fine people of New Jersey. We are fine people of New Jersey. And we are shouting out specifically Red Bank this time because we've been there.
So I was very excited about shouting out Red Bank because it's a place that I go.
Yeah.
And, you never know, preschool peeps. If you're in New Jersey and you're in Red Bank, look around. Go to YouTube, see what I look like, Then look around the restaurant because
I feel like
I do eat there.
Honestly, I feel like instead of going to YouTube and seeing what we look like, they would recognize our really loud voices. Or specifically, people have told me I have a very unique laugh that people have known I was in the room before seeing me because they've heard my laugh.
I've had people attend professional development and all of a sudden they go, wait a minute. Are you the podcast person? Because I recognize your voice. So you might, when I'm there talking to my family and friends, you might hear me because I do enjoy some of the restaurants in Red Bank. And also the shopping, by the way. It's not just restaurants. For anybody who's like, should I go to Red Bank? Yeah, there's shopping and restaurants and it's really nice. Yeah. So thanks for listening, Red Bank. Share the news. Share that we definitely know Red Bank and we would love for everyone to be listening to this podcast. Or watching us on YouTube. Yeah. So today we are going to talk about something that we learned about along the way. I don't even remember which one of us learned it first, but we were like, oh my gosh, that's so awesome. And some of you may be aware of it already. But I was very unaware that there's this policy when you go to Disney that about the hugging of the children, right? So the policy is basically the Disney character hugging them cannot let go first. The children have to let go first.
Right.
And I thought that is so fitting for so many things having to do with early education and families, that the children should be the ones to let go first. The example, hugging, yes, like if you're hugging a child, it's nice to let them let go first.
Right.
But it's also other things.
I think it's a lot of other things, right? It's like the child should be...
Well, we'll get to you were going to say something about hugging.
I was going to say something about hugging. I went to a workshop like many years ago. Now I'm talking about many. Okay. And they talked about hugging specifically. How in order for a hug to be effective and a child to manage their emotions or to calm them down, the hug has to be at least 20 seconds long, because at that point in time, your brain will release all the chemicals that it needs to release to calm yourself down. So I find it interesting that Disney has this policy that says you can't let go of the hug. And I wonder if it's like maybe children naturally know when they're supposed to let go because they're like, okay, I'm good now. My brain has released whatever it needs to release to calm down, and now I can release from this person.
Well, isn't it true that when you're hugged, there are certain chemicals released in your body? And that's why people like weighted blankets, because it does the same thing.
The same thing. But it has to be 20 seconds long. You can't just hug and be like, okay, it's good. The hug, the embrace has to be 20 seconds or longer for those chemicals to be released. That's what I learned.
What we're saying is the children should, even if it's more than 20 seconds or less than 20 seconds, the children need to let go first. And I felt like that crosses over to so many different things we do with children. For example, if I'm sitting and having a conversation with a child, maybe that child should let go of the conversation first. And unless there's a safety issue in the room or a health issue in the room, I should not let go of that conversation first.
That's true. And I think like they can tell like when you're not into the conversation, right? I think we had an episode about this recently of like they know when you're just not into it, and if you like release from that conversation early, I think they can be like, oh, no, I'm not interested in talking about this anymore. So I feel like maybe if we just keep, even if you're not into the topic, just keep going. You can always just ask questions to keep it going
until they're done.
Until they're done.
And I think when they're a certain age, when they are like verbal enough, like maybe 3s and 4s, even pre-K and the 3 class, you know, if you're unsure if they're done, I think we can look at them and say, are we done talking? Or do you still want to talk?
I've actually done this because sometimes there's some children that like pause because they get busy doing something. Like if they're playing and they're like, they were talking and then they're stopped. And you want to like maybe go elsewhere just because you think the conversation's over. I've asked them, like, are we done? Are we done talking about whatever the topic was? And sometimes they're like, yeah. But they don't, I think sometimes they don't know how to close off a conversation. So they just kind of stop and you're like, is it over? Yeah. You know? So, and I think it's okay to ask that. Like, are we all done talking about fire trucks right now? You know, we can take this up
because we can keep talking about it.
Or would you like to talk more about it? Yeah.
You know what this reminds me of? And it's really not all that related, but I'm going to say it anyway.
Okay.
It kind of reminds me of this. Children in this age group can't separate fantasy and reality. And at some point they begin to make that separation, but they need our advice about it. So it's somewhere around 7 or 8 years old that children come and say things like, I know you're the tooth fairy. Are you really Santa Claus? Mm-hmm. They don't ask these questions until they're ready for the answer.
Right.
Because before they're ready to separate fantasy from reality, they're just not going to accept that. They're not going to accept that this fantasy isn't true. But at some point, they come to us like, I know you're the tooth fairy, which means they are now ready to let go of that fantasy.
Right.
But they may not be ready to let go of the playfulness of it.
Right.
So it reminds me of this because I remember when my older son came to me and said, like, I know you're the tooth fairy. I said to him, that's a very grown-up thing to know. If you would still like to play tooth fairy, we can do that. And I left it up to him.
Left it up to him. I like that.
I didn't say, well, that's it for the tooth fairy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I let him let go of it in his time.
Yeah. That's smart though.
Thanks. I try to make good parenting decisions.
Well, also, I think that's like those kind of topics can get tricky in a household, right? Like if your older son is like, hey, I know you're the tooth fairy, but you have a younger son in your case, which is true, right? You have a younger son who still believes in it. Same with Santa Claus and all those kind of things. How do you navigate that? You know? So like
you let them own it.
Right. You let them own it.
And then let go of it. Eventually.
Yeah, I knew a family who had multiple children, and they ranged a very large age range. And so the older children, of course, knew that Santa Claus was not real eventually, right? And the parents are like, okay, they let them let it go as they could. And they're like, would you like to help us be Santa now for the younger children?
See, that's another way of letting them have it.
Yeah, and then it got them in on the tradition of what they used to do and how much got put into this Santa Claus idea, right? So that was like a cool way I thought to do it, is that you weren't like fully cutting it off. It was like, no, now that you know, now you can be a part of us helping make the magic for the little kids.
Well, here's another thing in the classroom. It also reminds me of this. Mm-hmm. I often teach about free playtime.
Yeah.
And during free playtime, it should be the children deciding where they're going to play, with whom they're going to play, how they're going to play. The children are making the decisions. And instead of us moving them around, we're supposed to let them make these decisions within reasonable limits. Like if an area is full, you can put your name on the waiting list.
Yes.
But they get to decide. So it's also, a child goes over, let's say, to play with manipulatives or blocks or dramatic play. It should be them letting go of that play, not us saying, leave the play. You go leave, someone else wants to come over here. We shouldn't be saying that. Yeah. We should be letting them, kind of like we say, they get to let go on the hug. They get to let go on the conversation. They get to let go when they're done playing with a particular toy or in a particular area.
Yeah, and I think that gets tricky in a classroom because I think there's a lot of teachers who are like, oh, there's a waiting list, so you get 5 minutes and then we're up. The only center in my room that I've timed is the sand table, only because it was incredibly popular for a little while, but every other center, I don't really kick them out, even if there's a waiting list.
You shouldn't. You're not supposed to. According to the environmental rating scales, you're not supposed to kick them out.
The waiting list, if those children don't get in there, say, in that hour.
That's okay.
I usually hold off until the next day, but like, would you like to go in there first? Because you didn't get a chance yesterday.
Right. The next time they're first, right?
Yes.
Next time they're first. And when we do that, when we say, well, you're not going to get a chance this time, but next time you're first, they learn something called delayed gratification. So that's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, according to the measures of high quality practices, you can't force them out of the areas, folks, as much as you may have done that in the past. It's not high quality. There are other things, so the conversation where they're playing during free play, I'm not saying during a teacher-led time of day, but during free play, also applies to the outdoors. Let them decide when they're done on the slide. Right. They get to let go of the slide. They get to let go of the ball. They get to decide.
We have swings at our school, and I've had
That's unusual.
I know, it's very unusual. But I've had children spend the entire 30, 45 minutes on the swing alone. You're like, hey, you want to do something else? No.
Yeah.
And they will spend the entire time on the swing. Okay, well then that's cool.
Yeah.
That's what you want to do. That's great. Swinging is a very, sometimes regulating kind of activity. And maybe they need that, So I'm like, go for it. I don't care what you do outside. I'm going to go look for worms, but that's cool. You know what I mean? Like, and if I want to look for worms for 45 minutes, then that's what I'm going to do. And I should be able to do that.
Something we can encourage them to let go of, but allow them the time to let go of it is their comfort items from home.
That's true.
Right? So they bring in, it is considered high quality practice to allow children to bring their comfort items to school, because we all have comfort items and we all need our comfort items. And this is the example I always give when I teach about this. I always say, you have comfort items that you don't want to leave home without. Like, have you ever left your phone home or your jewelry home or something you have with you all the time?
You have photos of your children or dog on your desk.
You're very uncomfortable if you leave that. If you leave that home, it just sets your whole day off. And the children feel like that about their comfort items. They can learn that they can bring it in, say goodbye to it, put it away. But they get to say that goodbye, and that could be a long goodbye or a short goodbye.
Yeah.
Right? So they get to decide, when am I letting go of this comfort item within those reasonable limits. Of, we can't just carry it around all day. It could get ruined.
True.
So we can put it however you all do it, whether you have a box for them or they put it in their backpack or their cubby or, right? They can learn, you can say goodbye to it, and then you can visit it during the day. There are other things that we want the children to be able to let go of. Meals and snacks. So they're sitting, they're eating, other children are done, this child is not done yet. So they get to decide when they're done eating, I think.
Tear me away from my food?
So
and you expect me to tear this 3-year-old away from their snack?
We're not tearing the children away from their
when
food,
I'm in the corner eating like donuts? Like, no. No.
It's so true.
And it's, and I mean, I get, like, you don't want them sitting there for 4 hours eating, like, but, like, at the same time, like, I get hangry if I don't eat. So, like, and I'm going to get hangry if you say, hey, sorry, you didn't get to eat your snack. Well,
absolutely.
Now I'm mad. So why not just let them go when they're ready? Because then it's like...
Wouldn't that be nice for rest time too?
That would be nice.
To be able to be like, okay, you're still sleepy? You're still sleeping? Or you're still resting? That's fine. You can decide when you're going to let go of that.
Yeah, I kind of do that in my room. It's more of a rolling wake up. I call it the rolling wake up. Because I have some students that need a little bit longer time on their cots, and that's okay. So we're going to be over here playing, and you just join us when you are ready, and we'll put your cot away when you're done.
That is so me, by the way. When I wake up in the morning, I'm not one of those people who can just jump up and get started. I need time.
I need to roll into the day.
I roll slowly. I purposefully set my alarm earlier than when I need to get up so that I will have time to just sort of lay in the bed and adjust to where this is a new day. I heard, and people can correct me if I'm wrong, okay? But I heard that there's a name for this in Ireland. When you wake up in the morning and then you just sort of lay in bed for a while, or you go back to bed for a little while, it's called doing a herkle-durkle. So I have said, when my husband is the type who, when he wakes up, he jumps right up and he gets going. So he'll sometimes say to me, "Are you getting up?" And I'm like, "I'm herkle-durkling."
It sounds like something Rose Nyland would say on the Golden Girls.
Herkle-durkling. So, children also entitled to do that. They're entitled to, when they wake up, some children will wake up ready to go. Some children need a little time. Yeah. They're the ones who should let go of that rest.
I'm totally using herkle-durkling in my classroom.
It could be wrong, by the way. It could be wrong. I'm going to look it up.
You just go right ahead.
Right.
I will get up right away, but I have a dog, so there is no sleeping in when you have a dog. But what I do, and people think I'm insane at work, is I will set my...
Oh, look, I am so right. It's Scottish. I'm sorry, people who are Scottish. It says herkle-durkle is a Scottish term that means to lounge in bed for a prolonged period after waking up, often when one should be getting up and about. That is so totally me.
When one should be getting up.
It's totally me. And maybe that's the temperament of some of these children too. They need to herkle-durkle.
I do this, but in a different way. I need to accept that I'm going to have to leave my house.
That's not a herkle-durkle.
There's probably another name for it in another language. If you know it, please let me know. So I will set my alarm earlier. I'll be up because my dog's I got to go outside. So there's no sleeping in when you have a dog. But I'm not one of those people that could get up, walk the dog, take a shower, and leave, right? I have to lounge around, be let me read my book for a little bit.
Maybe it's a partial herkle-durkle.
Then I'll take a shower. I'm up a good 2 hours before I have to be somewhere because I'm I need to just
Me too.
ease into the day and accept that I have to leave the house. I can't just get up and go.
Listen, I fully respect the children who need a little time to adjust to I'm awake now because that's me and that's you a little bit.
Yeah,
and
a
that's
little bit. Yeah.
So, So what have we said so far? The children let go of the hug. The children let go of the conversation. The children let go of where they're playing at free play and what they're playing with and who they're playing with.
Yes.
The children let go of the rest time. The children let go of the meal time.
Comfort items.
The children let go of the comfort items. I encourage all of you, all of our preschool peeps, to think about what the children should be letting go of and we shouldn't be forcing them out of.
Yeah.
I think it's a great lesson. I don't always agree with big corporations like Disney, but I do think that this is a great lesson that comes from that their characters cannot let go of the hug first.
Yeah.
And I just think that's really sweet.
It's cute. Yeah.
And now I want to pay attention when I'm with my children. We always hug goodbye. I'm not sure who lets go first.
Do a 20-second hug.
Oh, we do.
Even though your children are older. Because that rule was not just for children. That rule is for everyone. You need to release those chemicals. It takes 20 seconds.
Yeah, we do value hugging each other. So I think it is at least 20 seconds. Yeah. And I like to think that for children, no matter their age, there's nothing like hugging your mom and dad.
That's true.
I like to think that.
Yeah.
For some people, for some lucky children.
Yes.
There's just nothing like getting a hug from a mom or a dad. And I think they treasure that. Yeah. So folks, I want you to really think about, what are you forcing them out of? What are they allowed to let go of? Go back, let us know. If you think of anything that we could add to this list, please do let us know. Yeah. We're happy to address it again or put information out there, maybe on our website, or we also are on the Spaces by Wix app, by the way, and I do my best to release episodes ahead of time. This week I failed a little bit, but
it happens.
When that happens, I do try to do it as soon as possible. Sometimes I'll give a little bonus of the next episode when I mess up. But yeah, so I really encourage you all to check out that Spaces by Wix app. It's easy access to this podcast, and it's also just you get things ahead of time sometimes. Yeah. You can learn more about it on our website, howpreschoolteachersdoit.com. We also want you to find us on social media, on Facebook. Yeah. There is, Allison, you have to move your head before I say this. Sorry. There is a QR code. Thank you. There is a QR code on YouTube right now up on the screen, and you can hold your camera up to that QR code, and it's going to take you to this podcast's virtual business card where all of our links are to everything. And we also want to just share appreciation for the fact that we are so consistently listed in the top podcasts for early education. So thank you all very, very much for being our preschool peeps. Again, check out that intro. The ending is going to have the same music now as the intro that it did. Yeah. So stay tuned for that.
Yay.
And we will catch you next time on the podcast.
Bye, peeps.
Bye, peeps.